This very large package, I'll show you just how big it is in a minute, was delivered to me today by a company I haven't had any experience with before called OCS, and they handled a route that took it through Hong Kong with pretty good speed, especially considering that the delivery schedule went through the Lunar New Year. And this very large box contains my backer rewards for the SLA Industries second edition Kickstarter project put together by Nightfall Games. Now, I said it was a large package. What did I mean by that? Even though it was very large, it still managed to get abused. We can definitely see, a sway back situation going on here. But this package is actually as long as my arm. I have a pretty long arm, so this is a pretty big package. So this is the most interesting point of damage that the package received. But we also have the consideration that it's not exactly open, but it's not exactly entirely closed either. It appears to have been retaped, possibly having burst open or, been kind of crushed and opened as a result of that. But that's just speculation on my part. Reaching into this hole, all I really feel is more cardboard, from the lip of this end of the box. Going over to the other side, we have a tremendous dent. All right. Now, why do I show the damage to the box all the time? Well, mostly for the people who send them, so they get a clearer idea of what happens to their products when they send them around the world. All right. Well, let's do some cutting through tape, shall we? And we'll see what's going on inside the package. Swing this back around this way. Interesting. Okay, actually had to use the blade side that time. Okay. Inside the box, it's a kite. No, it's not a kite. Kite Packaging Company. Okay. Now, I received notification that my rewards were being packed, and I received notification that the shipment was being sent out, and then later on I received a tracking number, which is pretty good. My region, the rest of the world region, was the last to be shipped out. And based on information that was revealed in Kickstarter updates, I think mine is the only one coming anywhere near here. So, I might have gotten better treatment in that regard than others. All right, so what is this? This is a very soft thing that must be the dice tray. One-handed. Its operation is eluding me, and it's getting kind of dark in here, so I think we will change circumstances. All right, so as you can see, we have two of the all rolled up flexible dice trays. This one I added later on as an add-on. And this one came with my pledge level, which was the 3 Ps pledge level. These are a pretty clever device. I haven't owned one before, but it's pretty slick to see how they just snap together. All right, so then we have cover art. This is the standard edition cover art for the game. A little bit of damage. And then, what I've been waiting for, folded cardboard. Yay! No, it's good that these packing items are in there to keep things in place. especially because we have such an odd size package, needing to travel such a long way, with some of it being heavy and some of it not. So make good use of the dice trays. In this white box, I'm figuring we're going to find the metal dice tin and the dice. And about that, I'm not wrong. Now, I do not remember ordering the Piggy Wiggy dice tin, but I may have. At some point, ordered several sets of the dice, and some sets of the dice came with the pledge level. We'll talk about the dice another time, but as you can see, SLA Industries has developed into a completely different dice system than what it was before, and it's kind of interesting, these changes. The tin that came with my pledge level is the metal SLA Industries tin, and then this very heavy object, I'm not at all certain what it is. This lid continuing to close on me is causing me no end of annoyance. All right. This is another SLA Industries tin. Cool. So I knew I had ordered more than one. This one is the one with the metal SLA Industries dice inside. That explains the weight difference, which was throwing me off. This tin is empty, and I can put whichever set of dice I feel like in it. Likewise, this tin. This one contains the metal dice. So one moment, let me get it out. Okay. Because this lid fits so tightly, I've cheated a little bit. I've already looked inside. I've seen what you haven't. And it's impressive enough that I wanted to put the lid back on to be able to show you. But I don't have the lid on all the way because I can't take it off one-handed. Right? So this tin and this tin are exactly the same. They kind of have a matte and slightly textured finish. And we kind of got a gunmetal gray going on for the rest of the body, and there's a raised bottom, so we can feel, a raised lip around the outside edge. Now, taking the lid off, we're going to find metal dice inside in a foam tray. Ready? How about that? That really catches the eye and has that totally worth it feeling, So let's take a look at the black die. So they're really in there, which is good. How in there are they? They're defeating a grown man trying to get them out of the packaging. That's how in there they are. All right, so 19375. 6, 4, Jack, 8. All right. So this is the iconic Halloween Jack. Deeply impressed. These are very heavy, copper color. Hopefully it will actually look copper on your computer screen. And a matching copper color for the numbers and image on the black die. Impressive. The other sets of dice are, of course, made out of acrylic, plastic, resin, whatever it is, and follow the same format with 5 dice of one color and 1 die of a different color. And the icons used in these cases are let's see if I can get one clear, the skull image of Mr. Slayer, and then on the 5 dice, you have an image to go along with an organization or a group of in opposition to SLA Industries. So we have such things as the dice for the Shivers and the Dream and Thresher and Dark Knight, and we have lots of different options to choose from, and I picked some of my favorites. So now we have more decisions to make. Do we go for the books, or do we go for the maps? It's not really my habit to unbox the maps in these videos, because then I just have to put them back in the tube and try and find a place to store them until I can play with them for real. So I'm going to hold off on them, but this tube is ideal, right? Nice and solid, capped at both ends, not that weird triangle kind, and not sent separately, which is, you know, a godsend. So let's move on to the books. So you're thinking, how many books did you order? I'm thinking, can I even lift this with one hand? Well, let's just open it up and see. Be very careful. There we go. That should be enough. All right. Oh. Apparently this tape works for a living. Okay. More of that white cardboard I ordered. Yes, so I didn't have to worry too much about cutting the book. That's nice. All right. Bubble wrap inside the box. Inside the box. Excellent. I'm really happy when people recognize that maybe you'd like your stuff to arrive in good condition. So where can this go? Let's take this out. Yes. And let's put these back in here. The reason why I'm doing this in the box is to reduce glare from the overhead lighting, which can be monstrous. All right, so we have a nice big sheet of bubble wrap. What's on the bottom? It's the printed quick start for SLA Industries. This is available in PDF form through DriveThru RPG and other places. All right, so the system is now called S5S. All right, so this contains, a mission and characters and the core rules because it's a quick start. So it's kind of nice to have this in print form. Move this off to the side. Next, we have the Game Master's screen, which, there we go with the overhead lighting, which contains a dreadful panorama of potential violence and discontent. Right? This is the GM's pack, as you can see, which contains lots of happy people. All right, we'll open that up in a minute. We have the Certificate of Authenticity. I've gotten number 126 of 200 of this version of SLA Industries. Well, this is, as I mentioned, was the 3 Ps reward level, which is Progress, Prospects, and Prosperity. Well, there's the Mr. Slayer icon that we looked at on the dice earlier. Black faux leather, authentic faux leather, and silver highlights. SLA Industries 2nd edition on the spine, and of course the back is covered by the Certificate of Authenticity, which is attached to the shrink wrap on the outside. Pretty cool. And signed in our now iconic copper color. Finally, at the top/bottom of the pile, we have another add-on, the SLA Industries Cannibal Sector 1 hardback. Now, this was a product that was kickstarted in a previous project, along with a skirmish game and miniatures line and all of that stuff. And this was the beginning of the new setting material. So this contains the role-playing supplement and skirmish rules for SLA Industry, and the success of this product led into the rebirth of SLA Industries in its second edition. So this was a great opportunity to get this at a lower price than it might normally be available for, and I leapt at that opportunity. So let's review. In this reward level, I am very happy to have managed to obtain and ship around the world to myself enormous maps of the city and the planet, the Cannibal Sector 1 hardcover in all of its immensity and intensity, right? As a similar look to the second edition rules, right? Okay. And the very limited edition of the SLA Industries core rules, and the immense and terrifying gems pack and screen, the printed quick start and its adventure, cover art, and 2 flexible dice trays, and the incredible metal dice in tin, and the in-game product of Piggy Wiggy in spicy ketchup. You can just imagine what that must taste like. And additional empty sleigh dice tin, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sets of dice for various purposes. And that, as they say, is that. So we'll leave this unboxing format and move on to a different format to complete this video. Okay, to make presentation easier, we're now looking at the PDF. This is the final version of the PDF with its standard cover, which was released to backers just before Christmas of 2020. But prior to that, in October, we had received a beta version. The rules were fairly well advanced by the time the Kickstarter began, and then there was incorporation of certain aspects of stretch goals and things like that, and finalizing the text and the whole process of production. But this particular Kickstarter has been exceptional in how much information was clearly communicated to backers. We got to see progress reports, including spreadsheets, and which individuals were doing what and when and where, and things turned out pretty much as planned. So I've been very satisfied with this entire process. So let's take a quick look through the book. So just like the original version, we have a lot of dramatic use of black and white, but one of the major changes to my eyes and to others, I believe, is the inclusion of color. There has been an evolution in the interior art design since the original game in the 90s, as I think should be expected. All right. So when you open the book, you get this kind of a visual impact, certain degree of elegance and severity. Right. Originally, the game started out with about 100 pages of setting, and it looks like we have the wrong pages connected. All right, there we go. So we see this, and then we see this. right? Setting us up some terminology, that original cover, and then the opposition, right? So we get a pretty clear indication of what we might expect. Science fiction, brutality, aggression, and no small amount of horror. A lot of the game is text. This particular edition of the game makes learning the rules and becoming familiar with the setting a lot easier. A lot has been learned since that original core book. All right. Now, I'm not going to do anything like a review here. This is just an unboxing video, but if you were to buy the PDF or if you're to buy the physical products, what should you expect? Well, this. Pretty fantastic stuff. All right. So the font size is reasonable, 2-column layout through most of it. This is one of the maps that was available through the Kickstarter. So it's much easier to show it to you this way than to unroll it and try and hold it and deal with glare and all of that stuff. There's another, the planetary map. Right. Right. So we have a nice mix of black on white and white on black. So it's not too hard to read. Specific boxes are called out to draw the eye, and charts are minimal and color-coded. So, SLA Industries, 2nd edition. A substantial update to the system, and some substantial and some minor updates to the setting, the atmosphere remaining largely the same. One thing that I think a lot of people will appreciate from the first and Redux editions is how the hardware and technology section has been laid out. A lot of the items that were included were pretty fantastic science fiction elements with not a lot of description of what is it exactly, how big is it exactly, how is it used, that kind of thing. All of that has matured into this kind of section where it's very distinct and each entry is distinct and detailed. So I'm quite happy to see this upgrade, both in terms of its ability to transmit atmosphere through the art, but also it's just flat out improved utility. So this concludes our look at the backer rewards for the 2nd edition of SLA Industries. There are several covers. There's this standard cover. There's the limited production cover, and then there's the collector's edition cover, all with the same interior, and an exciting opportunity to explore a setting, the world of progress, which has a lot more to offer than a quick overview like this might suggest. It's not all screaming armor, bullets, and violence. It's not all science fiction wonderland. It's not all dystopia and horror, but somehow it's beyond all of these, and the combination is far greater than the sum of its parts.